5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Here we are. You're on Live with Neve, and we are going to have a great Friday. I hope wherever you're at. Look at this. My shirt's fading out with the green screen. I just noticed that. Hold on a minute. Let's see if you can bring me back into the picture here. All right. Let's see what we got here. I'm fading. Look at that. My shirt can be an ad for something. Oh, there I go. Now that's more funky. All right, there we go, peeps. All that funky, weird stuff that goes on with audio and video when trying to entertain the great masses, the unwashed, the angry, the raging. So here it is. It is Friday. I'm looking out the window. I feel like I might as well be in Seattle or London. It is completely fogged over. New York has disappeared into the mist, so to speak. Which could probably be a science fiction book. You wake up one morning and New York's gone. You can't see it. You're here alone at the shore. What do? I don't know. I guess I'd sit down and look at the fog for a while and think about how quiet it is and how everybody's gone. Imagine that, waking up being the only person and you can't find anybody. It's like a Twilight Zone episode. Think of a couple that were like that. So in today's news, Iranian attack expected on Israel in 2 days. Not a good thing. West urges China to intervene. I don't know who's doing that, but Tehran's deadly message to journalists abroad. I'd say this: if you're planning any trips to the Levant or the Middle East, you might want to rethink that. In good news, which I always lead the stories with good news, and I know this is terrible. God's going to smite me, but I've done worse things than this, and I'm still here, and I think he kind of has a sense of humor, hence he keeps me going. O.J. Simpson has passed away. He is morto. In other words, he could stick a fork in it. The football player, alleged murderer. How many people out there thinks he's an alleged murderer? I know he was found not guilty, but I'm just curious. If you're watching the show out there, pop into the comments and tell me what you think about OJ's passing. I'm going to give you a little bit of my experience with a friend of mine who had kind of repeated experiences with OJ. My friend was a manager, high-level manager at Carnival Cruise Lines down in Miami, Florida, which is where OJ, where he lived for a lot of the last few years of his life. He was also in Vegas and stuff, but he probably gets bad digestion every time he goes through the Vegas airport again, knowing that he's sat in jail in there for 10 years, which is not a fun thing. So cancer, some of the headlines are a little garish. Let's see, we have died on $100 million to families of victims. That was pretty cold. I have to say, Ron Goldman's father exercised admirable restraint, because if somebody had killed my son brutally like that went down, I would definitely not be happy, and neither would OJ. We also have a poll that says many on both sides say Biden and Trump have both screwed up things more than they did good. It's up to you. You decide. I know what I think, and I know what I watch and I see, and I don't have to beat anybody up with it. Let's see. We have Stormy Daniels is going to be coming out with Robert Avenatti, the prosecutor, and whether you hate the Donald or not, there's a lot of really shitty people running around who are in this whole miasma of the political scene. Avenatti is just like proven liar. Stormy Daniels I have no doubt any of this stuff's happened and all, but it's like, really, we got serious things to deal with. How can you trust either one of those two? They're both just skanks. And, the difference is they're not running for president. I'm going to just leave it at that. I think it's pretty funny and it's entertaining. It's tawdry. People love this crap. They want to hear every stroke, detail by detail, inch by inch progress. I don't know. We live in the craziest times I've ever seen. So whatever you think is good, be happy with it. I'll be happy with my way of looking at things. Russian attack. It's launched. Where did it go? Russian attacks on Ukraine stoke fears armies near breaking point. Again, with that, we have no way of knowing what's really going on. We don't know who's doing what. It's just a big freaking mess. There are border officers migrants fear. They're not Americans. Interesting. China is in competition to field drone swarms could fuel the arms race. You think, people? This is as close I get to really speaking about anything political, but occasionally I have to comment. Now we've got Gladiator 2 is coming out, and somebody's making a big stink about this, but I don't know if this is such a big deal. Paramount shows Gladiator 2 as Disney goes R-rated. You know what? Who cares? I'm sorry. If Disney wants to make Gladiator 2, they're a movie company. They make movies. They do a lot of crappy stuff, and they push various agendas and social ideas, which I think is crap. But if you don't like a movie, don't go see it. I'm not a big one on hate law and hate crimes and shit like that. I just don't. I think anybody who's like really psycho and kills somebody that we love, we're going to be pissed off and want something done fairly seriously. So we got cancer took out OJ. What else have we got? We've got about 6 more minutes before I bring our guest on. And I have to tell you, Wade is a really cool guy. He's not only a singer-songwriter, but he's been a drummer his whole life. And he's played music for a long, long time. And I really like him. The first time I had him on, and I called him, I think he didn't think I wanted him on the show or something. He said, "Why me?" And I just said, "I like your stuff." And that's it. He's great. Hey, Susan, good morning. Glad you're watching. So, yeah, I'm going to play a tune before I bring him on. I've got to do a commercial break in a few minutes. I got about 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and play you a little bit of Wade. And this is something that I think you'll like. I really do. Songs on YouTube. He's got all kinds of songs. And he's just a good guy. And he's a Texan. So he's all right in my book. Okay, hang on one moment. Get this going here. Oh, sorry.
It's a song I wrote about refugees. There's no room on this boat. There's no way it will float. We're desperate and starving, nowhere else to go. We have nothing to share. Seems like nobody cares. So we do what we can. Every child, woman and man. The risk of doing nothing is the greatest risk of all. Instead of doing something, you ignore the call. Time waits for no one, and time sets like the sun when you're lost at sea. When you're lost at sea. So we sail on the sea. We are one family. and we risk what little we do have for the chance to be free. Cross this sea of tyranny, wonder what will come of me if we reach our destination. Will we be allowed into your nation? Risk of doing nothing is the greatest risk of all. Instead of doing something, you ignore the call. Time waits for no one. Time sets like the sun when you're lost at sea. When you're lost at sea. Complications arise. Some are sick, some will die, but it's not in their best interest, so they just pass us by. You don't know how we feel. You don't beg, borrow, or steal. And you don't have to wonder where you'll get your next meal. The risk of doing nothing is the greatest risk of all. Instead of doing something, you ignore the call. Time waits for no one. Time sets like the sun when you're lost at sea. 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 When you're lost at sea.
There's some changes headed, like the Gulf Stream rising, like some gale that's been blowing off this wild bird island shore. And I can't say where, and I don't know when, but some old door's been opened in the restless shade. Poor man sagging cigarette takes the subway. Rich man folding old regret steps on the rundown.
I'm Neil from Live with Neve. We have an exciting connection for our veterans, country music fans, and there is something for everyone. Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com. That's right, we've partnered with Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com. See you soon. Hey, everybody. Yes, and good morning, Leland. I didn't mean to cue him up. He's always welcome around here. So we're back, and my guest is Wade Johnson. You just heard it. Very nice song. Just a great tune, actually. I really like the tune, and I've been a fan of Wade's for a long time. So this morning we're going to talk a little bit about music. We're going to talk about his musical career, how he came about to be the guy he is now, and talk about some of his songs. And one thing I like about him, he's not a boastful individual. He's just a good old Texan, man. So without any further ado, let's bring on my friend Wade Johnson. Hey, man.
Good morning, Neil.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Beautiful day here in Texas.
Excellent, excellent. Well, tell me what's the weather like down there? I mean, what temperature is it?
Let's see. I think it's about 64, 65 this morning, so it's a little cool, but they say
Very nice.
80 later on today.
That sounds good. And tell us, where you live in Austin?
No, I'm in Arlington, which is
Okay.
right between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Yeah, I've passed through there many times. But it's nice. I like Texas. You guys got a great state. A lot of good music everywhere. What is it? Dead in the Water down there? You got Lyle Lovett, you got Kinky, you got all these great troubadours. What is it about Texas?
You got Willie, you got ZZ Top, you got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like Hendrix said. He said, "What's it like being the best guitarist in the world?" And he said, "Last Billy Gibbons," and that was a long time ago. I don't know if that's true or not, but Billy's always been a hot shit, you know.
Yeah, he's a great guy too. I've been fortunate to meet him a couple of times. So
Very cool. Yeah, everybody I know who knows him and has worked with him said he's just a really good guy. So tell us. I know we've talked before. You've been on the show, but let's go back to when you got started playing music. You're a very good drummer, and just let's start out with that. How did you get drawn into the music business? And
I wasn't very good at sports, so I had to figure out something to meet girls. And when I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show in '64, I said, "This might be for me." And
that's interesting. Everybody at that age was thinking that, I believe.
yeah, I mean, I was like 13 at the time, so
Right?
that was a big deal to me. I talked my aunt and uncle, who I was living with in Canoga Park at the time, to let me watch the Ed Sullivan Show that night.
Wow.
They
And
went,
that probably was a really big deal. I mean, very conservative place, Texas back then.
oh yeah,
Around 64, somewhere around that. Is that right?
yeah, that was in California when I was living out there. Originally, that's where I'm from.
Okay.
But anyhow, I got started on drums in 1965. I bought my first set of Ringos, I call them, Black Oyster Pearl Ludwigs.
Oh, right.
I was working a job for $1 an hour.
Nice. Nice.
I
What
would
were you doing?
score and I would give them what I made that week, and they give me part of the drum set. I think
We share remarkable similarities in our youth. Just the whole getting hooked into rock and roll and buying a drum kit pieces at a time. And I worked in a music store, did papers. I used to deliver newspapers. Something that just doesn't happen in America anymore today. Stranger danger.
I did the newspaper boy thing too. As a matter of fact, that was part of
Yeah.
what I paid for them, but it took
Hmm.
a whole year to pay them off. But then I
That's right.
to a place called Thousand Oaks, California, and I heard a guitar down the street, and I went down there, and here's this guy playing the Lonely Bowl. I said, "Hey, you want to start a band?" So he knew a guitar player and a singer, so we
Hmm.
went in our garage and started writing songs together.
That's great. It seems like that was what so many of us at our age group, whatever we're called, boomers, or I call us the best generation.
I did too. For
I
me,
mean,
sure.
but we did have, I'll tell you what, though, you know what I mean when I say this, our grandparents and stuff. Now, those were some strong and smart, intelligent, hardworking people compared to our generation as a whole.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have all the padded dashboards and, like, remember, even look at the kids' jungle gym set. Back in the 30s, the thing was 20 foot high. Nowadays, it'd be like, oh my God, somebody might break their arm, but
Even for us, it was that way.
right. I mean, to a large degree, things were definitely like we had all those things you could jump on and spin.
Mhm.
Teeth to get knocked out, all this crap happens, and then they had those things you could rock on like a horse.
No seat,
Pardon me?
no seat belts in
No
the
seatbelts.
pickup truck, which we did quite frequently.
Yeah. Drink out of a hose repeatedly, even though it tasted like ass.
Absolutely.
You know, it's funny how the world is so different, and musically too. I don't want to get too off into the world stuff, but have you noticed just what does you think about the music of today? What's your favorite stuff that's being done today? And what do you like and what don't you like? Not that you have to, I don't mean to hate on anybody because all music's expression. We both, know how that is.
I don't like commercial radio. I don't like what is on commercial radio for them.
Sure.
But if you dig, you can find some good stuff. And I do a lot of digging. I like
Yes.
Cliff Hillis, I like Kevin Robertson, kinds of bands out there that I like, but
Mhm.
to dig to find them because the record labels aren't supporting them.
You're right. It's the whole people used to hate the record industry, but everybody was making a living back then.
Mhm.
People in the industry, there were standards, the laws for how you were paid royalties. Everything was much better. Even though people like to complain, I don't see Gene Simmons or any of the guys who wrote deals back in the 70s complaining about the amount of money they made. Because you even think about it, the sheer volume of people going out to buy 10 million hard copies of a record. It's just such a different scale nowadays. And I don't know about you, but I think it's almost, I look like you. I look for good music all the time. I spend about an hour a day looking for new talent to put on the show, where I just go out and I just throw a dartboard at the dartboard. I got 500, emails to go through, people who'd like to come on. And it's really hard to find originality. There's lots of great players. There's lots of great singers. And it almost is like there is a lot of great stuff, but it's almost there's so much stuff being put out on a daily basis that it's impossible for the bands to become like U2 or Zeppelin, or you have Lady Gaga, you have these huge pools of money, but it's not the same long-term career thing typically, or who knows, we don't know. Taylor Swift's made more money than anybody, and who knows, she could have legs, I would say. And there are a few bands and groups out there, but I think the days of the humongous rock stars, like even the caricature, the Spinal Tap type lifestyle and all that. Nowadays, even Willie Nelson's got an accountant telling him what he can spend on the road. It's just one of those things where the industry is, it was more seat of the pants. I think bigger chances were taken on acts back then when the machine ran it. Like the guys would sit around, I think it was Frank Zappa, I'm kind of characterizing. He said, they would say, I don't know what it is. Do you know what it is? No, I don't know what it is, but let's put it out there and see if it does any good. And if the numbers justified it, they'd put it out there.
Mhm.
Nowadays, it seems that a lot of the record people they're so tightly formatized that they wouldn't know something original because they wouldn't even probably want to listen to it in a lot of cases. And I think that's hurt the industry
They're
to a
more
degree.
cookie cutter thing. What is hitting one artist that is hitting, they want to duplicate that 100.
Forever.
And anybody else, if you're not in that genre, forget
Right.
it. And the thing here in Texas, anyhow, is most bands make their money off of merch.
Right. I think everywhere.
Yeah, probably everywhere. I can only speak for here.
Sure. Are you wearing a shirt of yours by any means?
Say again?
Is that one of your shirts you're wearing?
No, that's a Licorice Quartet shirt.
Ooh, cool stuff. All right. Well, it's a nice shirt. I like it.
Big fan of Jellyfish and some of the
Uh-huh.
from
All right.
in this.
Very cool. Hey, Jay, what's happening? Greetings to Tennessee. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Good morning. I understand my friend Jay is on the road somewhere with his lovely wife. One of my friends from back in high school still comes on and sees what kind of crap I'm slinging at the wall today to see what's happening. You never know. So tell me about the music scene in Texas nowadays, bars, clubs. How is it? Like, you work a lot. I see you always booked. What is the overall scene? And is it become like Nashville where you pay to play is big, and like Austin, things like that? Or tell me about it.
Gotten to that point here. However, it has in Austin. Austin's been like that for quite a while.
Right.
If you're going to Austin, Texas these days, prepare to starve. I don't care.
Interesting. Right.
Here in the Metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth,
Right.
there are a lot of venues closing down from lack of support and greedy landowners raising the rent on them. That's
Right.
so that's bad. I'm playing, but I'm not playing that much. I'm 73 right now. So and for a 73-year-old, playing original music is pretty.
I give you a lot of credit though, because you are still doing it, and I'm 10 years younger than you. I'm going to be 63 in September, and I hope to be playing and doing the same thing. Hopefully, in 10 years, we'll be sitting here going, "Well, hey Wade, you're 83 today. How's it going?" You know.
I feel fortunate that I'm still able to. However, when COVID hit, that's when I was playing with my last band. That messed things up.
Sure.
All the venues just stopped doing it, and then they went to singers, guitar players and stuff, and so I switched over from drums, guitar. I'm a strummer. I'm not a lead guitar player.
Sure.
Play good enough to get away with it in a restaurant or a nightclub or something.
Right. No, I think you're a good songwriter, and I like the fact that a lot of your songs they have something to say. They're written in that style that is a storytelling.
It's my most favorite thing to do is songwriting.
And there's a lot of stuff that's for me is when I read the lyrics, even if it's not on, I immediately sometimes just I got to hear what they did with this, because you can just I hate to sound like an old guy, but I think when we were younger, they beat us up on English more than they do nowadays, because like we just had to get it right. There was a big red X there. My teacher didn't give a crap about my self-esteem, but she did care that I got an A on her work. And I remember complaining to her, being a young guy who all I want to do is read Modern Drummer and sit in the back row and make jokes and be the goof that I am. She's like, "What do you mean you don't like your grades?" She goes, "You didn't work at your capacity." And she said, "In this class, I weigh the grades." She says, "You don't get special training just because you can write good. You got to show me something you haven't done before. You got to get better. If not, you'll have a C all year, but you better get working." And she also called me on the fact that perhaps my girlfriend might have helped me write this thing or edit it. Like she said to me something to the effect of, "You probably just wrote this thing last night and crapped it out and had your girlfriend spell check it and threw it out." And I remember sitting there getting red in the face and thinking, how in hell did she know that I was just fucking around, And it pissed me off. She didn't change my grade. So that set me up to learn a little more, because I was like, I'll show her, man. Tell me some guys like you. I wasn't a sports guy. All the jocks in class are writing a 3-word sentence. There's no finesse, or there was no enjoyment of the written language. But
me, when I was in school, high school out in Thousand Oaks, California, dress code, hair can be below your eyebrows, over your ear at any point, or over your collar. And I had back at the time with a producer for the band. Part of the clause was we had to have long hair. So mother presented that to the principal. They said, "Okay, we'll let him do it at this point." But then other mothers started complaining, and they said, "No, can't do it."
Oh man, did they give you licks down there if you were bad? Did they beat you in Texas?
Oh yeah. Not in
Did you ever get them?
But grade school, yeah.
I got it in high school in Florida last year.
Well, they just send you to detention, and then eventually I got so rebellious over the hair thing, I got expelled.
Oh, no kidding! What was your final deed that got you booted?
Just ditching school,
Oh, okay.
And being messing up in class. Teachers would complain, "This guy's not."
I get it. I don't know what that is about drummers and being somewhat rebellious. Listen, we're going to go to a break real quick. We'll be right back, peeps. We're going to try and take a brief commercial pause here for some of our artists, and we'll be back with Wade Johnson, peeps. We're going to be talking music, Texas, and just having a good time.
Hi, I'm trumpeter Greg Adams, and I'm live with Neve.
Like a melting flake of snow this year, I won't be
Hi,
Right.
I'm Darren F. Flynn, a singer-songwriter from
Darren.
Ireland, and I'm on Live with Neve.
I would have never guessed he's from Ireland.
It couldn't happen here. The people we
Hey there, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and you lucky people, you are live. You're live with Neve or Neve or Neve. I don't know. I can't say the dude's name. Anyway, you're on live with him, so I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good thing.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Live with Neve Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
All right. Thank you, Leland. Always. What a guy. What a guy. He's a funny man, I'll tell you. And he's out with Lyle, speaking of Texan musicians.
You know what? I got to see him do a session in California with Jose Feliciano, Jim Keltner on drums.
Oh, yeah, the man.
Steve Cropper was producing, and my buddy J.A. Spell, blind, brilliant piano, keyboard player, fiddle player, got me in because we worked together in a studio in Memphis called Beautiful Sounds.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the studio. I'm not familiar with it.
I was in 1969, I moved to Memphis. And in 1970, a guy named Dan Penn, who was a prolific R&B songwriter, up if you've never heard of him, and Eddie Braddock, who had worked for Stax as their A&R guy, came to saw us play someday. And after I was in a band called Freedom Street, and after the show, they said, "Who are the songwriters in this band?" And it was me and the keyboard player. So they said, "Come over to our studio. We're just about to open it, and I'd like to hear some more songs." So we both went there. We both played songs. I was 20 at the time, and they liked them enough to sign us as staff songwriters for Dan Penn Music Publishing.
Nice.
And recording artists with the band. So, man, I saw so many great artists in there. I've got a list here. Carl Wilson, I got to sit elbow to elbow with him in the control room. Blondie Chaplin, Ricky Fattar, B.J. Thomas, Leon Russell, Joe Cocker.
Tell me about Leon Russell.
Leon came in with Joe Cocker and Freddie King, and 71, and they were thinking about buying the studio. Denny Cordell was there with show, and so to get a feel of the studio, they started doing overdubs on Freddie.
Oh, no kidding.
Willis Allen Ramsey.
Wow.
And he just has that one album, and one song was recorded there called Northeast Texas Women.
Northeast Texas Women. I'm going to look that up. I love Leon, man. He's just the best.
Oh, man.
God, what a guy. I saw him tour with Willie back in the day, like 1979, something like that.
Yeah.
Excellent. And that was the first time I saw Willie Nelson. And I'd been in Florida for maybe 6 months, although my mom had been down there. I'd visited many times. I didn't live there till I was my last year of high school. And so a girl who I eventually married, my first wife, said, I'd been taking her to concerts, see Dylan, seeing all this stuff. And she says, "You want to go see Willie Nelson?" And I was like, "Willie Nelson?" I was a rock guy back then. I didn't know anything about Willie Nelson, but I liked red hair and I liked her. So I said, "Well, yeah, I'll go." It blew me out the door. You remember his old drummer, the guy with the black hat?
Billy English.
Yeah, he was his manager and all that.
Yeah.
What a guy, man. What a crazy, larger than life guy. I mean, did you have any experience? Did you run into him during those years?
No, I didn't ever run into Willie, but I ran into Billy. They have a drummers luncheon here once a year.
Neat.
North Texas get together, about anywhere from 60 to 70 drummers.
Wow.
just share stories, and he usually comes out to that.
Wow, that sounds great. That's really cool. Well, let me think. Talk to me about Willie Nelson. What do you have you met him, played with him, anything like that?
Now, I never got to play with him, but he was one of the reasons I moved from California in '75. It was pay to play out there, and I wasn't about to do that. And the disco thing was going on, and I
Yeah,
wasn't going to do that.
sure.
In little wide lapel jackets, and
Sure. It's a whole, it's funny because a lot of the disco I hated back in the day.
yeah.
Now I just like it because it was part of the fabric of life back then. You'd hear it at the beach, somebody be playing it.
Well, there was
So-
some stuff like play that funky music. I always
Right. Like stuff like that, or some Chic. What's that guitar player's name? Producer. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can see his face. Got dreadlocks. I'm having a senior moment. Great guitar. Nile Rodgers took me.
Niles.
I mean, he's just such a goddamn great all-around musician, producer. Big head on him, I don't mean like he's boastful. I mean, he's a really smart guy, and all the.
He produced a Bowie album that Stevie
Yeah.
played on, if I'm not mistaken.
He worked on Let's Dance, that whole album, I believe.
Now, Stevie, I first saw in 1975. A friend of mine was playing, and Stevie was in a band opening for him. So
Stevie Wonder or Stevie Ray Vaughan?
What now?
Stevie Wonder or Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Ray Vaughan.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought.
So out there, and so I went out there, and the minute he started playing, it was called Miss Luann Barton and her Triple Threat Review. I pulled a chair. It was at the Longhorn Ballroom, which has a massive dance floor, and a chair from where the people would sit, and I put it right underneath him. I mean, from here to the camera was Stevie.
Right? Wow.
Blew me away. I mean, it was the blues player I'd ever heard in my life.
The first time I heard him, I just was like stunned. Who is this cat?
Super nice cat. I mean, really nice. I took the poster off of the wall, and my backstage to meet him, and he was gracious. He signed my poster, and
nice.
Very humble guy. At another time, I saw him play maybe 5-6 times in nightclubs. He sold me one of his T-shirts.
Wow.
To this day.
That's really cool. It seems like that's one thing that bands, with the merchandising having to be such a part of it. I like the fact that more bands come out and they'll spend as much time as needed. We charge a lot for a T-shirt these days. If somebody comes out to see you, I don't know why some people who get they get a little big, and sometimes they can be real schmucks, have a big, huge head, or they can be drunk, or, bad, just at a bad point in their life, I mean, I haven't had a drink. It's my 5th year coming up in May, which I'm very excited about because it's a long time. I love my whiskey, but I love being sober a lot more. And, it's a social lubricant. We all know why people get addicted to alcohol. You have too much fun, and that's really what it comes down to. You have to, I don't know, find some other way to have some fun.
I've drank, throughout my life, but I've never got to the point where I had a problem.
Yeah, well, that some people can drink and do quite well, but I learned I just like to have too much fun, and That said, I love it now that I'm clear-headed, because it's just it changes. You just see it's like part of the aging process too, I believe. Just as we get older, we have enough fun in the past that you don't really want to do again. And I know in my case, I feel pretty damn good. And
I always hated hangovers. I'm a big wimp when it comes to hangovers.
Yeah.
That saved me from becoming an alcoholic.
Right. Well, I think that's what got me cleaned up, that aside from falling down my stairs. That didn't do me any good. But that's a story for another time. For anybody who knows me, they know that story. It's pretty ugly. Well, let's see. What is this? Who is this? I got somebody from the past just reached out to me. I think that's funny.
Cool.
One of my old guests just twanged in here to say hello. Dave, look, great rock and roll guy out of Augusta, Georgia. Dave, good to see you, man. I'll talk to you later. Him. I'm just letting him know if he's watching. I'm trying to think of something that I haven't asked you before. Where do you think music's going in the next 10 years? Do you see resurgence? I know country's still a huge thing. I find it. What do you think about Beyonce getting a #1 hit for that song?
Pretty interesting.
I think it's pretty. I don't really care for the tune. I think it's just, I don't like a lot of country that's really pop country. So I'll say that right off the bat. I like Waylon Willie, Johnny Cash, that kind of stuff. I like Lyle Lovett. I like him because he does so much swing, that Texas swing that they play sometimes when he's got the large band. But, it's, to me, country's country, and just making it into another watered down genre, like modern country, there's a lot of it's just really garbage. And
you know what I noticed, Neil, is that the bridges, like I watched the CMAs the other day.
Oh yeah,
I played with Toby Keith keyboard, so I wanted to see him.
Right.
The bridges are all the same. You know what?
Yep.
It's that same cadence, that same thing over and over. I prefer the old classic over what's going on.
And the lyrics too. I mean, the lyrics in the old days, people actually could rhyme. They knew how to read. They didn't fake rhyme. They didn't auto-tune everything. It just drives me crazy. And look, I'm just like I'm a human, man. I played when I used to sing and have to do most of the singing for the band. I know how it is, man. My throat would be cooked after, a week of gigging, or, even sometimes, excuse me, it would be toasted after one night. You might have a cold or something, It's not easy to fake something when you're hoarse or whatever happens. You have to learn how to do it and, protect yourself and all that. But like a lot of things, I learned the hard way well before I had any lessons on how to, breathe. And I'd say to anybody out there, it's always good if you have somebody who knows a little more than you do and you're teachable. If
always play with somebody that's better than you too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any problem if somebody kicks my ass in every way. And I think it should be that way. Music's a meritocracy. You can either do the show or you can't. And if you can't do the show, maybe it's the wrong show for you. And, I never try to sing something I can't do because I know I'm not a great vocalist. I feel about my voice like you feel about your guitar playing. It's something I do because I have to and I'm good at it, but I'm not great at it. I don't have any voice like Robert Plant or, one of these people who, Alison Krauss, and even like Lyle Lovett, he doesn't have a great voice traditionally. But he sings great. And his songs are what we're there to hear. It's about the mental connection and the big band and the whole. And even when you see Lyle just with himself, he's excellent. He's killer alone, which to me shows how great his songs are. Because if you could take a song from the large band to an acoustic guitar and pull it off and get that feeling in your heart, in your chest.
And Willie have character, I call it, in their voice. I almost think it's more important than being a brilliant singer.
I think so too, because it's a very emotional. It's like listening to John Prine. He's not a classically great singer, but if you listen to the words he would write, I love Prine. I've interviewed his keyboard player and said what a great guy he is. My friend Phil Parlapiano played with him for a long time. In fact, he played with a lot of interesting people. He played accordion and guitar for Rod Stewart on the Unplugged thing with Ronnie Wood. And he's just the nicest, most down-to-earth guy. He has a show on every Sunday if you ever get the chance. I'll send you a link to it next time he's on. Every Sunday at 1 o'clock. Wait a minute. It's 10 o'clock his time. So, yeah, it's like 1 o'clock my time. Wait a minute, let me think about that. No, that would be 4 here. I don't know. He goes on at 10 a.m. Texas time.
Okay.
So he gets on and he usually he'll play like some old Bach thing, like an etude, something on an organ, like church music. But then he'll usually have a story to talk about, either a gig or how some songs were written or how a piece of music was composed. Brilliant guy, very, very humble and unassuming. Just really a cool dude. That's all I could say. I love having him on. I love watching his show because he's a very thoughtful writer. He's just hand carved.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like what Willie and all these guys, they're one of a kind, and hence their experience, how they write songs and all that kind of thing. It's just different. And I don't know if you feel the same, but the country music, like you said, they've all got the same bridge, sometimes the drum sounds, and then that mess of auto-tuned voices to the point where it almost sounds like it's the chipmunky kind of a thing. I'm just like, okay, you know, it's one thing if you hit one flub, you sing a whole song perfect, you got to pitch up a note here and there. I don't get too weird about that. But when I hear like, I know a lot of the rap artists use it for an effect, but they really do turn it up to full chipmunk. You know, it's like, wah, 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 wah. I just go, God, man, that sounds awful. You know.
You know what I really like country is Western swing, they call it, and we had for my wife and I's wedding reception, we had the Light Crust Doughboys, which are some of Bob Wills' guys.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And
Bob Wills is the man.
Oh, it was so good. So
God, I bet that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. Well, I got to do one more break. I want my people to get their ads paid. They pay for them, and we're gonna take a quick break. Everybody, we're here with Wade Johnson. Wade, do you have any CDs or anything for sale right now?
I do not. I have MP3s that are available. 3 of them are out. So you can give your music buying sites and get them. By the way, I think the battery on my camera gave me a warning that it's getting low.
Oh, okay.
You lose me. That's why I didn't.
I understand that. Well, I know you're just a terribly rude guy. He hung up on me. I don't know. No, kidding you, man. Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to run a quick break. Oh, Susan, I see that you mentioned Sam here. I miss him too. In fact, I miss him so much that out of the blue yesterday, Sam called me. So Susan, for everybody out there are rumors that Sam and I are working on a mystery project. So I'll be playing some drums with Sam, and we're going to be getting together, do a little songwriting and have some fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Sam Rourke is one of my guests who's been on. She's a little fire cat, about 100 pounds of spitfire wild woman, man. She can sing like a banshee, writes great songs. And for everybody out there, if you've seen her, she's been one of my co-hosts. That's why Susan's one of my first fans from 5 years ago. By the way, everybody, we just passed our 5-year mark. So if you want to send us $5 million or something to endow the NPR or the Neil Progressive Radio, we're the most unprogressive radio. We're just not that hip. I'm sorry, but progressive shit gives me hives. But I do have a good code of ethics, and I like everybody. So I don't know what can I say. But Susan, you're great. I appreciate you always watching the show. And here's a friend of mine's Ben who's doing well at ISSA. Are you a member of ISSA?
Me?
Yeah, International Singer-Songwriters Association.
I think at BMI and ASCAP, if that's what you're asking.
This is a little different. This is an organization I belong to, which is a worldwide. We've got about 17,000 members. We have a balloted jury. Everybody's welcome to. If you're a musician, originals, you can submit songs. It could be a songwriter, you could be a big band, you could do whatever. But we basically exist to help other songwriters and artists find people, have people who are good to help you get from where you're at. And I've seen it bring a lot of people up in the music biz who needed a little help. I mean, nobody's born with that. And I really have to say, they don't charge anybody money.
No.
And they're a good organization for anybody who's out there. I've had dozens people. If you're out there watching the show, if you are nominated right now for an ISSA award coming up for the August ceremony, please hook me up. I'm reaching out to all of you guys. So I'd love to have you on the show to talk about your songs and what you're doing. And if you're not in the group, anybody, ask me about it. I'm glad you hear from Irish every day. And yes, Susan, she is great. she's a real sweetheart. But we're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back. And remember, if Wade bails out on us, he's just a rude bastard. No, I'm kidding you. I love you, man. I'm serious. You're the best, dude. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, I'm international singer-songwriter Hira, and I'm on Live with Neve. See you guys soon.
Hi.
Hey everybody, this is Steve from Reach for the Sky, along with Jay from Reach for the Sky. And you're listening live with Neve.
Hey guys, my name's Eli Alger, and I'm here on Live with Neve.
All right, we've got everybody in today. If we were running a longer show, you'd all get twice as much advertising as you paid for. But today we're not. Who is this? Oh, okay. I just got to make a note here. Sorry, people. Just taking up care of a little housekeeping here. I have to run by the doctor today and get my second update. What is that shit? Shingles.
Oh.
Yeah. Do not want to get shingles. I have a friend of mine who's got it right now, and she's in agony.
My parents had it, and it was horrible.
Yeah. It just seems like the worst. My dad had it too, and he said, "Get the vaccine. You'll be glad you did."
Dad was a tough old guy, man. He wouldn't complain about any kind of pain. He complained about shingles.
Yeah, that's what my dad said. He was like the worst he's ever felt, you know. And somebody close to me just had that. What's this? I get messages from every political group. Go away. My God, I don't give money to anybody.
Not me either.
I don't, I figure I don't care even if I like them. They're rich enough to get in the political office. They got way more money than I do, and I'm not giving them a dime.
Yeah.
I just don't care what side. I find them all equally detestable and annoying and irritating. So I'm just, I'm part of the mind your fucking business crowd. That's my motto. I don't have to tell everybody what I do or don't do. It's everybody in the world. They all think I got to share every personal, they got a wart on their ass. I got to tell the world about it. It's like, I'm just a crotchety old guy, man. Get out of my yards, you kids.
The more I get, the more crotchety I get. That's for sure.
It's just what I find it is. We get a little short patient, lose our patience a little more than we did when we were young. Sometimes all I can do is what Southerners have said for generations. Well, bless your heart. That's all I can think of.
All your life, that when you get to be in my generation, my age, or your age, it's like, I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, I've been getting force fed all this crap my whole life. And I always get people offended because I'll say, how many Yale or Harvard grads does it take to screw up the country? And there's always got to be one around when I play the joke, and they go, I don't know. Well, we don't know either. They're not done yet. It's just they're just getting started. I mean, really, these people are morons, and just all I know is just because you're educated does not mean you are smart. You can be a complete and utter madman idiot and still have passed some way, cheat your way through college. That apparently too is a huge thing. Cheating's always been a problem, but I don't know about you, but I worked too hard in school to let some asshole cheat off me unless it was a friend of mine. I would try and help him, When I was at Full Sail, I had a kid I'd be doing these algebra formulations that I'm not a math guy. I hadn't been in college in 10 years when I went there. And so some people were just tearing up the math. Hell, I had to go get a tutor to learn. But I earned my A,
Anybody that cheated off of me was going down with me.
This guy sitting next to me, what I'd do is I'd write out the whole long form equation. And then I'd sit and look at it for a while, and I'd see him doing that shit. And then I'd erase the whole thing, and I'd write it like this. Finally, I told the teacher, I said, move that son of a bitch away from me. I'm sick of him looking at my tests. I'm sitting in the hallway getting tutored by a 20-something when I'm in my 30s. I'm paying her to.
Arithmetic cards they made, like for adding, subtracting, division, multiplication.
Right.
So bad in school with it. My mom would set me down at the dinner table after dinner every night, and memorize those things, and I got it down. But algebra, geometry, and trig. I never got that stuff.
I didn't care for it, but I got it enough to pass the class.
Smarter than
I don't think so. I just maybe I ate a little more crow. I felt really, really dumb sitting out there in the hallway with this young high school aged person. Like, they were like 2 years out of high school. And I'm like, you're getting A's in this class. I need some tutoring. I'll pay you $20 an hour. Can you help me figure out this math for, audio?
Yeah.
And she did. Very nice. But I was damned if I'm going to let this little prick from Philadelphia steal my answers and get an A. Plus, he'd already been recycled. Like, nobody fails out of Full Sail. If you fail out, you're just an idiot. Most people would never show their face back there again. It's just not. The culture has changed a lot, because back when I went there, it was all rock. Everybody was a really good musician who was there when I went. Nowadays, you get people who've never done anything in music, and they have to learn from the ground up, which,
just knew I was never going to be in an occupation that needed algebra, trig, or geometry. I mean, I knew at that point I was going to be a musician.
I feel the same way. And even when I have a job in the audio industry where I've had to use the math I learned in Full Sail, now it's all like on your computer. You just pop out your iPad, type in the size of the room, the measurements, the various materials, floor, walls, ceiling, absorption coefficients, and reflectivity for all that shit. And you go click, and it goes, this is your delay time. This is where you fix it. This is what you do, blah, blah, blah. And you go, damn, I'm so brilliant. You didn't have to even break a sweat, no pencil. You just get the blueprint and sit there and dial it in, and life is good. Well, listen, everybody, we're at the end of the show. People are pinging me every 5 minutes. I don't know why. You'd think I owe them money, but I don't. And have a good one down there. If I get down there, my friend and I are talking about going down to visit Kinky Friedman. And if we do that and we make that journey, I'm going to call you up and tell you, come on, we're going to Kinky's. We're going to pull up in a big car and we're going to haul ass to Kinky's, wherever the hell he's at.
Have to have cigars, that's for sure.
I got to bring you along just because you're a Texan, man. He's one funny son of a bitch, is all I can say.
He's a character.
He is quite the character. In fact, even though he's old, I'll vote for him for president. I'll fucking elect Kinky. What the hell? He can't do any worse than anybody else.
Yeah, right now, there's nobody to choose from for me.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me. We are in dire straits. And I don't know. I'm just sitting here. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to work good and hard. And everybody I know and people I love, I'm going to do my best for. And the rest of people, well, they're kind of on their own. But I try to be a kind and merciful human when I can. But sometimes you just got to separate yourself from the idiocy of what people do. Say it's just not it's not my freak parade. I'm not joining this one.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're out of here. If you want to find some of Wade's music, please reach out to me. You know where to find me on the hotline. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, peeps. We're out of here.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, live with Neve.